Hey guys, this is Nicole, and I have kind of a multifaceted video for you. I have a couple layouts to share with you, and then I have a homemade kit from my stash to show you, and I'm going to be using that kit for the remainder of the layouts that I'm going to be making as a continuation of the layouts I've already made, and I'll explain that here in just a minute. So first off, I had signed up for Ellie Edwards, I think it's called Your Story or Story, story stamp kit. Now I don't get the kit. There's two kits you can get through her website. One has like product with it, and I'm just doing just the stamp. But then you get access to like what I would call like a mini class. Like she has a couple of videos. She has a couple of layouts that she goes through with you and teaches you how to make them in Ellie Edwards style, which is always awesome, and it's always very story based. And so I kind of feel like I've been thinking lately that I'm ready to do some really deep storytelling, because I always tell stories. My layouts, all of them tell a story. Some of them are very simple. Some of them are very daily life type of stories. But I have some, deeper, I have a lot going on, and I have some deeper stories I want to tell. And so I really go to Ellie Edwards, and I'm ready to do that, to really delve in and like tell some good stories and some more in-depth stories of my life or my kids' life or, my parents or whatever. So I am behind a few months. This was the very first stamps that I got, and I'm trying to work through them in order. So this is probably maybe 6 months ago, 5-6 months ago. I think I have, well, I'll be able to count here. But anyway, the first one I got is called Get Real. And so it's a stamp set about basically kind of imperfect parts of life. So hard parts of life, real life, it's not always peachy, highs and lows, but how all of our stories make us who we are. And so what I did was I just grabbed, like she has, I think, 2 layouts that she shows. I did copy one of them, and the other one I haven't done yet because my computer's not hooked up to my printer, and I'll need my printer for it. So I'll show you the one that I did was a pretty good scrap left of hers. But I had pulled out all these pictures as options. Well, I'm going to try to just go and work through them all. So I won't have, her pages as scrap left because she only had 2, but I'm just going to keep going with this stamp set and using the stamp set on each layout and try to get through these photos I had pulled, because they're obviously stories that I felt like had a depth to them that I want to tell, that aren't hunky-dory happy stories, but I want to get them told. And so here's the first one, and I want to show you how I'm organizing this. I had this, I think this was this was maybe an old Heidi Swap, like it had rub-ons, letters or something in it. I don't remember for sure. But when I get her stamp sets in the mail, I should be getting another one here soon. I just put them in here. So, so let's see. I think this is February's. So this must have been October's maybe, because then I have, I don't think I've gotten March's yet. I'm not positive. I don't think I have March's yet. So, I have 4 in here that I haven't even opened or hardly even looked at. So then I'll go to the particular class that has her using the stamp set, and then that will kind of get me started. And so they're really fun. They're just like, this one's about routine, like morning and evening, weekends. This is this one called Daily. So days of the week, and then just different words, any of your days of the week there. And these you can obviously use for your everyday scrapbooking or your project life or whatever. Like this one would be really great for project life. Then this one is gatherings. I'm guessing this is probably November's for Thanksgiving, and which will be great because I have so many family reunion pictures and on both sides of our families, and so I'll have lots of photos to use with those. And this is about first. So that just kind of gives you an idea. And so each month you get a different theme, and then she kind of guides you in stories you can tell with that. And so with this, I have this notebook that as I'm going through and listening to her audio and her videos, then I'm writing down, I've already torn this one out that I'm doing for this one. And then I'll go through and I'll write down ideas, and then I'll go find those photos. So I just have this notebook in here to go along with that. So that's how I'm organizing my stamps, my Ellie Edwards stamps from this particular, like I have other Ellie Edwards stamps, but I just want to keep those separate because they're with that particular, I don't know if she calls it a class or what she calls it, but anyway. So I've done 2 layouts already with this stamp set, and this one was a hard one, but I did it, and I'm glad I did it, and it was very therapeutic for me. And again, I'm not exactly like hers. This is the same, but the colors of my tags are different. The colors of my, how I did the inks are different, but the overall layout is very similar. And it's a 2-page, 8.5 by 11. And sorry, I want to get this out of the way here. So it was a story basically about finding out that my mom had stage 4 cancer. And I've done, I think, one other layout. I had taken a picture of her trying on wigs, and but it wasn't super in depth. It was just about, gosh, I can't believe we're doing this, but we've found her wig today, and and it was more of that story. But this is an actual story of like the day, because I know I'll forget some of the details. I already have forgotten some of the details. And so it was a really deep, and I hand wrote it. I think Allie had typed it, but I hand wrote it. And then throughout it, stamped some of the different sentiments. So the facts and the feelings, and the story of a challenging time. Sorry, my nails are awful. Here's what's real right now. So again, just real life stuff. And then just these are tags from my stash. I think these were from maybe Dear Lizzie. And these are just kind of general tags I had gotten from Hobby Lobby. Tied them with some twines. And then added some wood veneers here. And then here, I had some photos from her doing her very first Relay for Life. And so that worked out perfect because I found these pink tags, and that worked perfectly. But then pink is also the breast cancer color. So it just worked out really well. Like it's a really meaningful page. So there's that one. Very simple cardstock, like no pattern paper on this baby. The only pattern is on these tags. But it's like one of my favorite layouts. It's a very sad layout. It's very meaningful, very deep, but it's one of my favorites. So as always, I always love my layouts that I scrapbook from Allie. So there's that one. And then this one was just my own design, but I wanted to continue to use the stamp set, and I had pulled these photos. It's a little bit more lighthearted, so it's all good. This one was about, I'm part of a book club. Me and a few gals get together once a month, and we read a book and talk about it. And we had, one of our picks was Dr. Zhivago, which I'd heard about, and one was very curious, wanted to read. And it's a really good story. Like the history of the book is amazing, but the book itself was really hard to read. And I pride myself on like reading every book. So like if I start a book, I want to finish it. Even if I don't like it, I finish it anyway. Just to say I read it, I gave it a chance, whatever. And you always learn something from a book. It's, but this one, because it was Russian, like you had like all these characters that came into the story. And you don't know if they're ever going to come back again, so you don't know if you have to remember them. Well, they're Russian names, so they're hard, and then they have nicknames. So you're trying to figure out who's who. And so I had this picture of all these notes I had taken while reading this book. But then about halfway through, because they moved, I think, to a different part of the country or something, I don't know, but their names change. And so then you're relearning it all again, and it was such a frustrating book to read. And while the story was great, it was a frustrating book to read. So about halfway through, I was flipping through my TV channels and I found the movie. And so I DVR'd it and ended up just watching the movie. I still ended up reading, I think, 3/4 of the book, but I ended up watching the movie to find out what actually happened in this story. And so I wanted to tell that story because that is so not what I normally do. Like I normally don't skip to the end, or I don't like some people read the end and then decide if they want to read it or not. I just like to start with the book and read it, and I know I'm gonna enjoy something about it or learn something from it, even if it isn't my cup of tea. So anyway, so I wanted to tell that story. Definitely more lighthearted than the layout about my mom's breast cancer. So I just used the colors because you had like the teals and the grays and then some blues and more grays. And so I just found I actually just went to my stash. This is not from a kit or anything. This is just going to my stash, finding papers. I haven't done that in a while because I've been working with kits for so long. So it was kind of fun to do that. And so I just grabbed this. I think a lot of these are my mind's eye. One of them is We Are Memory Keepers. And then some of these are just like cut apart cards for my stash. But I have this kind of a craft and white chevron. And then I pulled in that craft with some of the I think they're Amy Tangerine thickers, and then I pulled in some Chamel corks, and I used like the clock because, you know, I ran out of time to get it read, and ended up finishing the movie because, you know, we meet together at the same time to discuss the book. And then I put brilliant because it really is a brilliant book. It was really a very historically relevant book. And then rubbish because of how all the crazy names in there just made it impossible to really enjoy the story. So I kind of did those groupings with the craft just to bring that craft back to the surface. And then I wanted to get a library card in there because, you know, that made sense since it was a book, you know, for a book club layout. And so I had found this, I think it's from Fancy Pants. And so I did the journaling. If you pull it out, you can read all the journaling on there. And then I I wanted to pull on some of that gray. And so those are thickers for my stash. Then I pulled in some gray washi tape. And then these are like gray and teal chevron cards. I just wanted to pull in some more of this, like, more minty green color, tealy color, that's in the background there to the surface. And then I found these clips, I think they're from Studio Calico, and they had kind of some text on them. Like this one has text on it, and they were the perfect color scheme, so I added those just for a little texture. And then I had this washi tape, this text washi tape also that I pulled. And since this layout had a mix of white and cream, I had a cream-based washi tape and then a white-based washi tape. Because I have like the white here, but then I have the cream here, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm not super picky about that anymore. So there's that one. Okay, so those are the 2 layouts I've done so far with this stamp set. Oh, and I didn't show you where I used the stamp. I just used it once, just on the top of the card. I split, here's what's real right now. And so then I have basically this pile of photos that I've pulled from my stash, just about like, you know, the kind of not, you know, just not horrible things, but just some of the like here's a picture of I was driving to school and these cows were in the road and they didn't let us pass. And so I had to turn around and go like 6 miles out of our way. And so I want to tell that story because it's a story about where we live and how that never would have occurred to me as happening to us, you know, in our old home. And that's a story I want to tell. So just stuff like that. And I have some more serious ones like my mom doing chemo, and I want to talk about how I went to chemo with her every single time and what we did, what we talked about, how we spent that time. That's again going to be a very hard layout. Here I have a towel underneath her door because we had a mouse. I saw a mouse and he ran back in, and so I put a towel there because I wasn't going to deal with it until my husband got home. Here I have taken this picture. Mitt Romney was in our hometown, or at the town like next to us, a big town, to campaign for Ben Sass, who won. He's a senator for Nebraska, and at that time I didn't know if he was going to run for president again, and so I'm like, you know, I wanted to see him anyway. So, but I was going to journal about, I guess, my disappointment that he didn't win last time around, and just kind of my thoughts and feelings about seeing him in person. So it's going to be a mix of good and bad kind of thing, because I used to really respect him as a person, no matter what your politics are. He's a very respectful human being. I think he, I just really appreciated being able to see him in person. So I think it's gonna, I pulled that because of the mixed emotions about it, because I have a lot of thoughts about that. So, then here, just the process of moving, and I had a breakdown one day because it was really emotional for me, and because we raised both of our babies in our old house, and so I'm going to journal about that. And then here was like our first huge, like we had like 4 inches in one night, and so there was flooding all around our house, and we got water in our new house, and so just those are the types of stories I pulled as I went through layouts and thought, gosh, this is a story I want to tell that isn't like a happy story, but it's real life, and that exactly was what this was about. Like, here's a picture of the house I grew up in, and it's been dilapidated, and it's been painted purple, and it looks a little bit better now than it used to, but I go back to my old hometown that I grew up in as a kid, and see it, and it's getting better, but the people that bought it after we moved out of it destroyed. This is my home, like the town I grew up in. That the people that bought it after us just destroyed the house, and it just made me really sad. And then a couple miles away is the farm that my grandparents lived in before they passed away, and I, you know, pretty much grew up in as well, because my dad farmed with my grandpa, and how his dad built this house, and just the sadness I feel when driving past that I can no longer, like, I just want to go back in the house one more time. Like, I just want to go experience the house another time. And I'm sure you've all kind of had that feeling where you know, you're near a house that you used to spend a lot of time in, and you just want to go in and just see what it looks like and relive some of those memories. This is a plaque on a, in the same, my old hometown. This is a plaque that we came across. We took my kids to the park there while we were reminiscing. I was reminiscing. My family went with me, and I found this plaque, and this was one of our little best friends who was killed on his bike. He was actually with my brother, and he was hit by a car and killed. And I have a picture of him somewhere, like a school picture, because he was only, I think, 5 or 6 at the time. So I have his kindergarten picture, I think, and I need to find that, and I want to attach that with this and make a layout about that, because I've never documented that story, and just how hard it was on our family and on my brother, and just seeing that plaque just kind of stopped me in my tracks. I didn't expect it. So it was just a dedication of memory to him for the park. They must have donated to the park. So this is about my first Thanksgiving without my mom. And so we were on our own, basically, because my grandma was out of town. And I think we got together later on with my brother and his family. I think we did like a combined Thanksgiving Christmas thing. And so we went out to eat because I couldn't handle it. I didn't want to deal with it on my own. So we just went out to eat, went to a movie, and started kind of our own new thing. Just wanted to kind of document that. And then just some pictures of like my mom's last few days, all the family that was in town to visit, and celebrating Mallory's birthday at the same time that we're trying to be there for my mom, and just the combined feelings of the happiness for her and the sadness for her, you know, that kind of you know, emotional. And then just my dad, like sorry guys, I'm getting kind of deep here. So I may not get to my kit share. I might do a second video for my kit share. But my dad's anniversary of his death was on the same day that my mom found out that she was basically going to hospice. And like, it was also the same day that she was told she had stage 4 breast cancer 2 years ago. Like that day, the April 4th, April 5th time frame, which actually is also my birthday, is just, for some reason, like, it's a horrible couple of days for our family. It's been that way for many years now. And so I was going to journal kind of just about that, because on the day that I found out my mom was basically going on hospice was the day I also had to go decorate his grave. So anyway, yeah, this is a story just about how we struggled with our dog when she was a puppy, just with different, you know, every puppy has issues with biting and chewing and stuff, but we had an issue with her and my youngest daughter, and I just wanted to kind of document that kind of struggle, but how they're totally fine now. Then the pictures of family pictures from my husband's dad's funeral. We lost both of our parents, or we've lost all 4 of our parents in like a 7-year time period. So my dad suddenly passed away in 2006. Then we lost his mom. Then we lost his dad. Then we lost my mom, all within 7 years. So there's a lot of stress in our family, but this is pictures from that. And then one of Allie's layouts was about was kind of a layout about her right now. So I thought I would do this, like line them up, and then have the whole top of the page is going to just be kind of think about me right now, because I haven't done one of those for a while. And this I just pulled because it seemed like an introspective picture, and I thought I would maybe write some deep thoughts about something, because I have those every once in a while. And then here again, just another, this one I think I pulled because my just the adjustment for our dog with a new house, and like trying to figure things out, and like we're on top of a hill and it's really windy and she just hates that. And so I just was going to journal about some of that with her. And then I just grabbed some random pictures of me. Then this is a one about Project Life and how I've struggled with it. And this last year, I do have an excuse. We moved. And so that obviously just kind of stopped everything. And I was trying to play catch up, and I'm just trying to debate whether or not I want to try to just finish out year 2014 and call it good, or I'm just going to just leave it. I don't know what cut me off. So anyway, so I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of how I'm handling just this kind of project. And I'm definitely going to do a lot more with it than I think I initially thought I would. But when I was going through my photos, I'm like, oh, that would work, that would work, that would work. It was amazing how many how many of my life stories fit with this stamp set. So I'm going to go ahead and show my kit now. I was going to do it as a separate video, but I think I'm just going to put these together. It's going to be an uber long video, so I apologize for that. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. It's a really good deal. It's like, oh, is it like 20 bucks a month? You get the stamp set, you get the access to the materials, and Allie is just a genius when it comes to telling stories. And so I would definitely encourage you to look into it. And so when I was looking through those pictures I just showed you all of, and didn't plan on doing that, I'm sorry. I had made a kit that I put together for my blog, and so I was looking down at it, and I caught, because I was looking for certain colors, and I'm like, oh, this kit will work for this set of photos. Then I just realized it would probably work for most of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and start working with the kit again, but continue to work on using that stamp set, which means I'm actually going to, well, I might use a stamp set too. I also had pulled this stamp set, so I'll probably use those together. So the main base of this kit is, it's all crepe paper, not all the embellishments, but the paper is. And it is a mix of, gosh, I got a mess here. It's a mix of On Trend. I'm just going to make a big old mess over here. On Trend and another one. Just a second. Okay, it's a mix of On Trend and, what was the other crepe paper one? Random. There we go. Okay. So they work really well together. They're very similar in colors. And so I had a kit still put together from one of them, and then I had just some random pieces left over from another, and I just added them all in together. And so all these loose pieces, I'm not for sure if they're from On Trend or from Random. I think these are from On Trend. So I just have a bunch of random, like 6x6 pages, and then some scraps, because I've scrapped with it already. I have the random paper pad, which hasn't been opened, and it's got the yellows and pinks and greens and some purple, like purpley pink colors. And then these are On Trend papers. These have been around for a while, like 2012, so we're talking about 3 years. And this really cute line, very versatile, lots of fun colors, and yeah, there's all the, I assume these are the A sides here. And then I love this paper. I think these are all, I think I have a couple of each sheet. So there's that. And then I'm mixing it with the random paper. Can I get this out of the way here? Which again has, the blues are very similar, the pinks are very similar, the kind of the yellows and burgundies, I think will all work together. So this is the same as that 6x6 pad, basically. It has some navy blue in there and some lighter pinks, so it's good combination of colors, but the styles all are very similar and work together well. So, okay, so I have those, and then I just went to my stash, and I had some die cuts from those paper lines. So of course I pulled them because they already match. These are so flimsy. I'm glad they don't do it this way anymore. Like, I hated these. They're so flimsy. But I have these die cuts, and I'll probably maybe punch them out and put them in a bowl later. And then so I think this is from, I'm not for sure which one's which. I think this is from Random, and this is from On Trend, I think. So I have 2 of those to get used up. On Trend, these are like washi tape sticker type things. I have some of those. As you can see, I've already used quite a bit of these. Some of the this is stickers and the border strips, and then the die cuts, the chipboard die cuts, which I've used a good portion of those already. And then I pulled in this transparency, and this is from Polka Dot Party, but I think the pinks went really well with like this here, so I thought that would be a fun thing to add in. And then let's see other items from that line. This is going to be a mix here. I had these flowers. I think these were from Random, maybe. I'm not positive. I have these from On Trend. These, they're all brads, but some of them look like buttons. Actually, that's actually an actual button. I lied. It's a mix of brads and buttons. Okay. And then I had these, which is from one of them. I'm assuming On Trend. And then, let's see. Okay, the rest of this is going to be all kind of mixed up here. So then I have these doilies that I've pulled into multiple kits and haven't used up yet, but it's got a lot of the same colors, like the darker pinky purple color and some yellows. So I just grabbed some doilies. And then I grabbed I think it was a My Mind's Eye Project Life kit. I wish I would have left it in the box now that I think about it. I took all the cards out. So I don't remember which one it was. I think it was one of the, I don't remember. But it has a mix of transparency cards and then actual cards. And what guided me was this purpley color that matched the Random paper line. So I have a whole bunch of cards here, and they are kind of slippery because they're of the acetate. There's 3x4 and 4x6. Like, they're really cute. So lots of fun options there. And then I have a whole bunch of punched out butterflies. So I think I punched out a whole bunch back when I was first working with this kit. See, they're really slippery here. Okay, let's see here. There's a lot of them. Okay, so I did pull these enamel dots from the Chalk Studio. I think they're all going to work. All colors are going to work really great there. And this is actually a flower from the On Trend, I think. And then here's just a bunch of random die cuts that I had left over from the ephemera packs, or punch outs from the die cuts. Or I think there's one of the buttons that had fallen off. Or butterflies I had punched out by myself. Stickers that, you know, are no longer sticky. So just a bunch of random. I'm going to actually put these directly in a bowl here. That one's probably a little big here, just so I don't have to do this like 5 million times. Stick it in there. These butterflies, the big ones I'll leave out, but I have a whole bunch of butterflies there, as you can see. I punched out. Okay. Butterflies are always a go-to punch for me when I'm doing something without having a plan for it, because you can use it for anything. And then I pulled these Dear Lizzie tickets I still left over. The colors were perfect. And with that kind of burgundy color, the yellows, the pinks. So I pulled those. And then I pulled a whole bunch of wood veneers. I'm not for sure. I think I just maybe grabbed a stack because I want to use these up. And I don't think any rhyme or reason to them. I just grabbed a pile to try to use them. And then I grabbed some washi that went with some of the different papers from my stash. So there's those. More than I usually pull, but there were lots of different colors that I wanted to have lots of options to use. So there's my my homemade kit based around 2 crepe paper lines. And I'm going to really try to continue to work with the Ellie Edwards stamp that I've been talking about, and kind of get those photos scrapbooked, and then that will probably finish out this kit with all those pictures I have. And then my next kit will either be with the next month's stamp set, or if I'm ready to move on to something else, I'll do something different. But for now, that is it. And thank you guys for watching. Sorry it got kind of long and more in depth than I thought it would. But I appreciate you guys watching, and happy scrapping. Bye-bye.